Hey there, Marina here. I wanted to share something in this video about my practice. I have been working with clients for 3.5 years now or more, and my main method that I've been working with is fast EFT, more specifically tapping. You probably hear a lot about tapping these days, and I've predicted for a while now that it's just going to become more and more mainstream. There's going to be EFT tapping clinics all over the US, I think even within the next 5 years, so it's very, very exciting. All my tapping training I've gotten through an alternative EFT method, which is faster EFT. It isn't a shortcut, it's more of a straight, much more direct approach about your inner world experience. So it's not very scripted, there's not a lot of words to say, although we do say some words. They're more to see how you are affected by these words than have any importance really in the words themselves. Or we'll use words that you say as a client to see how we can make them mean different things than we believe them to mean. So what I really wanted to share was my hesitation to kind of graduate from one system to another system. I've been finding myself in this in-between world of being very drawn to a lot of non-dual teachings, the teachings of Mooji. Initially it was Mooji who I found, who was my favorite kind of non-dual person I was listening to, and he's become very, very big. He gives satsangs to many people. He has this kind of guru status, which I'm not drawn to at all, and I'm not even drawn to go see him, because it's not him, it's the message, it's the messenger itself. I mean, I have high respect, I'm amazed and in awe of his ability to say what he says, but it's really the message that I'm so drawn to. And later on I found Byron Katie. I've read a few of her books. I love the book 1,000 Names for Joy, really spoke to me. And then later on I found the work of Scott Killaby, who had his own path of different non-dual teachings, and he's really simplified it, and I just really love his approach. And he's come up with a method called the Unfindable Inquiry. Actually, his whole approach is called Living Inquiries, and he has several inquiries within this that continues to grow and develop and change. And it's very, very simple, and I find it to be very much in alignment with fast EFT, and yet somehow the two come together from a very different angle, but somehow they fit. So I've been a practitioner of the Living Inquiries, and I'm a continual student of that, and I weave them into my fast EFT sessions, and I feel that my strength and my specialty has definitely become looking at more from a perspective of non-duality, although I don't even want to give it that name, because even that can be limiting. So what do I do in a session? Well, fast EFT has been an amazing gateway, an amazing foundation for me through the years. I believe, or I agree with most of its belief system and the way it's laid out and taught. I like how straightforward it is and simple, that anyone off the street, whether they're a businessman, an Eskimo, tribe in Africa, it doesn't matter, it makes sense. So it's very universal and approachable, and that really drew me in. At the same time, see, I forgot what I was going to say. Maybe it doesn't matter so much. But anyway, the one thing that I find for me that fast EFT is fantastic is when we're really, really in our story, it helps you kind of dissect, de-architect, de-hypnotize yourself from the story and see it from a new perspective naturally through the process of tapping, which is really like 5% of the importance of it. It's really the approach that's so great. Now, what I found through the non-dual work is that, Fast EFT has this great metaphor. It's the tree metaphor, where we talk about our problems being all the way down into the roots of a tree. And we even use that metaphor, instead of cutting the tree off, the problem off right at the stump, we pull it all out by the root. For me, doing inquiry work and weaving it into Fast EFT, it's almost like it's taking it one step further. It's even less getting into the story, even more looking at it from the raw experience of your experience. So it's not just the pictures of a memory, but actually the fact that it's a picture itself. So even going beyond the picture of the memory, of just noticing that you have a picture in your mind, regardless of the content, and the same with sensations and tastes and sounds, etc. So for me, the metaphor for the inquiry work that I have brought in to my work is, let's not pull the tree out by the root, but let's just even question if there was a tree in the first place. If there's no tree, and we really look from our experience whether there's a tree at all, is the image of a tree in my mind, is that the tree? So if, instead of speaking in metaphor, the problem in my mind, the word problem, is that the problem? And this comes from Scott Killaby's work. Very, very simple. Is the word problem a problem? No. Is the image I see in my mind the problem? Well, yes, I feel a lot. Okay, so the answer is yes, because you're letting your body answer this question. So then we go to the sensations. Is that specific sensation, as we break it down, is that itself a problem? And as you break apart and decipher and de-architect the problem, you can no longer see it the same when you look at each piece of it separately. So I wanted to kind of summarize this for two reasons. One is, I'm finding this to be an even deeper level of destructuring, deconstructing, and yet somehow I'm still not able to let go of the tapping. So I've had this, my own internal battle with, do I just drop tapping altogether and do this, or do I stay with Fast EFT, because that's what I've really been comfortable with and know and love, really find it effective with clients. But what I've found is the more I bring in this deeper inquiry, and so kind of marrying the two somehow, and I don't really have a very specific process around that, it just kind of happens with each of my clients naturally. They present a problem. If they're extremely, extremely triggered by the problem, we may start with tapping. There's a very strong sense of a belief, a strong belief held, we may start with looking first, and then as emotions show up very strong, we may tap. So it just kind of happens naturally in a beautiful way, and that's what I do. So my specialty with Fast EFT, and basically as a freedom facilitator, because I don't even want to call myself a living inquiries practitioner or a Fast EFT practitioner. I find that very limiting. We have so many amazing tools. Another one is focusing. Focusing is amazing. All in alignment. Sedona method, release technique. All of these, all looking at the same thing. There are all these different tools, and they all fit together beautifully. So I'm not going to say it fits inside a Fast EFT or inside a living inquiries. It's just what I do as a coach, taking each piece and tools and techniques that works for each moment. I would love to come up with a name for what I do, but I don't have it. It's me, Marina, facilitating as best I can. So anyway, just wanted to share that, this in-between place that isn't really an issue so much, especially as I share it now with you. I'm just excited. I'm excited to kind of come clean that I'm trying to marry all these worlds together in my world, because I just love this work so much. I feel so honored each and every time I watch someone else completely de-architect their own problem, and holding the space for that, being able to guide. it is such a gift to me as well. And yet I never know that's what it's going to be before a session. I don't even go into it for the gift, but somehow it always ends up being a gift too. So I'm very grateful for what I do, and I love what I do. So anyway, just wanted to share all that. Thanks for watching and listening. Feel free to leave me comments, questions, concerns. Life is really, really good. Because even as we decipher and de-architect all these pieces in our world, life still continues to go on. What naturally ends up happening is less triggers. Yeah, what's the point of doing all this anyway? That's another question that I sometimes ask myself, thinking maybe someone would ask me. What's the point? Why don't you just live and have a good time? Well, if you're triggered over and over again, or you see patterns in your life that are just not serving you, you feel like you can't move forward, or you're very, very certain that there's a certain way life is, and it's true for you, but somehow you're still struggling, it's a great time to have a session. Maybe you can see it differently. I'm not going to instill new ideas in your mind, but as we look, as we really take a closer look, you might find it's totally different than you thought. Okay, that's enough. Have a great night. Bye-bye.